Hey everyone, welcome back to IT Samurai Teacher. My name is Sheikh Abdul. Today we are diving into the network foundation services available in the Azure portal. Now, Azure offers a ton of powerful networking tools and services. But in this video, we're going to focus especially on network foundation services. I'll explain what each services does, give you a real world examples, and let you know whether it's free or paid. For other services like hybrid connectivity, network security, and load balancing, I'll create a separate videos to give them the attention they deserve. But today, we'll be focusing on network foundation services such as Bastion, custom IP prefixes, DNS Private Resolvers, DNS Zones, NAT Gateways, network interfaces, network managers, private DNS zones, private link, public IP addresses, public IP prefixes, route tables, and virtual networks. So let's get started. Okay, let's jump now. Under Microsoft Azure, you can see networking on the left side, and under that the main heading is networking. Under that you can see a lot of subcategories: network foundation, hybrid connectivity. So we're going to talk about all these tools under network foundation. So let's go first talk about the Bastion. Bastions. So Azure Bastion provides a more secure way to access your virtual machines, VMs, without exposing them to public IPs. Instead of connecting directly over the internet, you use Bastion service, which act like a jump server. It's a secure gateway to RDP or SSH into your VMs over SSL directly from the Azure portal. Let me give you a real world example. Imagine you are managing a production environment with a critical services. You don't want to expose the VM's public IP, as that increases the risk of attacks. With Azure Bastion, you can securely access that VM, minimizing the exposure to the internet. About pricing, Azure Bastion is a paid service, and it costs depend on the number of hours it's running as well as the amount of data being transferred. Next, custom IP prefixes in Azure. Custom IP prefixes allow you to bring your own IP addresses into Azure. Once you have registered your public IP space with Microsoft, it becomes available for your Azure resources. Let me give you a real world example. For companies moving their on-premises workloads to Azure, they often want to keep their existing IP ranges. This feature allows them to maintain IP continuity, easing migration and integration. About pricing, custom IP prefixes are also a paid service. Pricing is based on the size of the IP prefix and the time it's reserved. DNS Private Resolvers. DNS Private Resolvers are crucial when you want to resolve domain names across private networks without exposing any DNS traffic to the public internet. This is especially helpful in hybrid cloud environments where on-premises networks and cloud networks need to communicate. Real world example, let's say you have multiple virtual networks across different regions. DNS Private Resolvers help to resolve names internally, keeping the traffic secure within the Azure network. Pricing, this service is paid and you'll be charged based on the number of queries processed. DNS Zones. With DNS Zones, you can host your domain's DNS record in Azure, providing high availability and fast performance. You can manage records like CNAME and TXT for your domains directly from Azure. Real world example: if you are managing the DNS for a website or an application, DNS zones give you full control over domain management. You can configure custom domains names for your web apps or services hosted in Azure. Pricing: hosting DNS zones in Azure is paid service. You'll be charged based on the number of zones you create and the number of DNS queries processed. NAT Gateways. NAT Gateways provide outbound internet connectivity for your virtual machine and other resources within your virtual network. This enables multiple resources to share a single public IP for outbound connections. Real world example: in large scale deployments, you don't want every VM to have its own public IP. NAT gateways allow you to have centralized control over internet connectivity, ensuring that your outbound traffic uses a single control IP range. Pricing: NAT gateways are paid service. You'll be charged based on the hours your gateway is running and the amount of data processed. Network interfaces. So network interfaces are essential components that connect your VMs to your virtual network. Each VM must have at least one network interface, and you can attach multiple network interfaces if necessary. Real world example: imagine you are deploying a VM that needs to communicate over different networks, such as one network for web traffic and another for backend services. Attaching multiple network interfaces to the VM allows you to segregate traffic securely. Pricing: the good news is that network interfaces are free, though they will incur charges indirectly, such as when traffic flows through a public IP or other network components. Network managers. Network managers enable you to manage and automate network configurations across your entire environment. It provides centralized control over multiple networks, simplifying large-scale network management. Real-world example: for enterprises managing multiple regions or environments, network managers allows you to apply consistent policies and configurations, reducing the risk of errors and ensuring uniformity. Pricing: this service comes at a cost based on the size of the network and the frequency of configuration changes. Private DNS zones. Similar to DNS zones, private DNS zones allows you to host DNS records for your internal services within your virtual network. This ensures that private domain names are resolved securely within the network. Real world example: let's say you have several microservices running on a different VMs or containers. With private DNS zones, you can configure internal domain like service.a.local that are only accessible within your private network, making internal communication simpler and more secure. Pricing: paid service charges are based on the number of DNS zones you create and the queries processed. Private link. Private links allow you to securely access Azure services like storage or SQL databases over private endpoint, meaning the traffic never leaves Azure backbone network. This adds an extra layer of security by avoiding exposure to the public internet. Real world example: imagine you are running a business critical app that stores sensitive data in Azure SQL. By connecting to the database through private link, you ensure that the data never traverse the public internet, significantly reducing the attack surface. Pricing: private link is a paid service based on the number of private endpoints and the data transferred. Public IP addresses. Public IP addresses are what allow you Azure resources to be accessible from the internet. These addresses are essential for services that need external communication. Real world example. You're hosting a web app on a Azure VM and need users worldwide to access it. Assigning a public IP address to the VM makes that possible. Pricing. Public IP addresses comes at a cost, billed based on the type of IP, static or dynamic, and the duration of use. Public IP prefixes. Public IP prefixes are blocks of consecutive public IP addresses you can reserve and assign to your resources. This is useful when you need multiple public IPs for your services. Real world example, for business running multiple services that need to be externally accessible, public IP prefixes offer convenient way to allocate IPs, ensuring you have enough available for future expansion. Pricing. This service is paid and based on the size of the IP prefixes and the duration it is reserved for. Route tables. Route tables let you define how traffic in and out of your virtual network. By adding custom routes, you can direct traffic based on a specific city area, like forcing internet-bound traffic through a firewall. Real-world example. For secure environments, you may want to route all internet traffic through a security appliance before it reaches the internet. Route tables help you define these custom traffic rules. Got it? Pricing. Route tables are free, but depending on where your traffic is routed, other services like firewalls or VPN gateways may incur cost. Finally, virtual networks. Virtual networks, VNets, are backbone of your networking in Azure. They allows you to securely connect Azure resources, VMs, and even extend your on-premises network to Azure using VPN or ExpressRoute. Real-world example. Think of a virtual network as your private data centers in the cloud. They provide isolation, segmentation, and security, allowing you to build robust network architecture. Pricing. Virtual networks are free, but certain features within them, such as public IPs, NAT gateways, or VPN connection, do come at a cost. Okay, that's it. Today we covered the essential Azure Network Foundation services and how they help you build secure, scalable, and efficient cloud networks. I hope this video helped you understand these tools a bit better and how you can use them in your projects. If you found this video useful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content on Azure networking and cloud computing. Also, feel free to drop any questions or feedback in the comments below. I love to hear your thoughts, and stay tuned for future videos where I'll dive into the other Azure networking services like hybrid connectivity, network security, and load balancing. So if you don't want to miss out, make sure to hit that notification bell as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay secure and keep building amazing things.